Ha ha ha, okay, we are gonna piss off a whole bunch of people by making this video. I love it. How fans of all the teams involved, they're gonna snarkily talk to me in the comment section and say that I shouldn't have made this video. But you know what? There was an article published about it. There was a conversation or two about these names, which is why we're diving into it here, baby. Let's talk about some other Montreal Canadiens second-line center options. Guys that have been labeled by the lovely folks on TVA Sports as potential choices for the Habs in a trade. Now, there are a bunch of names that are discussed in the piece that we'll dive into here. 10, in fact, mentioned by Vincent Duquette yesterday. But I only wanted to focus on 2 of them. Because, of course, focusing on all 10 in one video is gonna significantly reduce the amount of time we can spend on each of them. And also, I think rationalizing it to 2 or 3 teams helps everybody share their piece of the anger pie. I know a lot of y'all will be upset with this video, but let's dive into it here. Forget Sidney Crosby. Here are 10 centers the Montreal Canadiens could trade. Number 1, they can trade Nick Suzuki. Number 2, they can trade Christian Dvorak. Number 3, they could trade Michael Hage. And number 4, they can trade Jake Evans. Oh, that's not what the article's about? Sorry. Yeah, TVA Sports, it's in French. I translated it to English via the Google machine. You could go out there and read it yourself. The title is really talking about 10 centers the Canadiens could trade for. Not 10 centers in the Habs organization that they can trade. Of course, it also says forget Crosby, so you can tell this is all about Montreal targeting some guys. In fact, the first 3 that are discussed in this article, we've already made videos about. Bo Horvat, Matthew Barzal, and Ryan O'Reilly, but I wanted to skip all the way to number 7. Because this is totally going to be ridiculous. Evgeni Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Here is what Duquette writes about for the pros of Malkin. Even though he's 38, Malkin continues to produce at a solid pace, posting seasons of 83, 67, and 50 points in 68 games over the past 3 years. He would be an ideal mentor for young Ivan Demidov, for whom he is an idol. With the Penguins heading into a rebuild, Malkin could be tempted to join a team on the rise that has a rising Russian star in its ranks. The cons? As the father of a young son, Malkin might be reluctant to leave the family nest at this stage of his career. And I know what you're thinking. Dude, Lego, shut up, man. You made all these videos about Crosby and the Habs. Now you're talking about Malkin? Like, bruh, there is an even lesser chance that Evgeni Malkin decides to leave the Pittsburgh Penguins. And furthermore, would this not be kind of folding in on itself? The reason I say that is because my mind's instinct when I read this part of the piece, I was like, wait a minute, if Evgeni Malkin comes over to Montreal, wouldn't that make Sidney Crosby want to leave Pittsburgh too? Like, if all his guys, his head coach, his Gino, his Letang, if all his guys are all of a sudden out of the organization, would that not give Crosby the incentive to want to leave too? Like, that was one of the main things that everybody was talking about, right? Crosby's got all his support guys around him. He's still with his crew. He doesn't want to leave if they're there. But if one of them does leave, like Malkin, firstly, would Crosby not want to maybe depart on his own endeavors away from a rebuilding Pittsburgh Penguins squad? And secondly, I'm thinking, if Malkin's going to Montreal, would Crosby not want to also go to Montreal in the background? And would he also not subconsciously want to be with Malkin? Would there not be a chance that the Habs get Okay, no, we're not gonna. Let's not dive into that. I stopped myself, folks. I did. I stopped myself before we said the big bad B word. Both to Montreal. Okay, sorry. Gino is not going anywhere. There's no way that guy's gonna find himself on a different NHL team. And the reason I'm thinking about it like that primarily boils down to just the story here and the place where Malkin is at in his career. He's 38 years old. He's got 1 more year left in his contract. Sure, he was highly productive this previous season. 50 points in 68 games. While it's not the dominance that he has had in the past, it's still fine. But Evgeni Malkin is probably not in a spot where he wants to leave and get adjusted to a new system. It does seem more like Pittsburgh or bust for Gino, which is why he had only signed a short-term extension all those years ago. Short-term? Yeah, it was more of like a bridge-ish deal. 2022-2023, the first year of a $6.1 million AAV contract. It's almost like he could have seen something like this coming. Sidney Crosby, on the other hand, yes, it is true that he has not signed on for an extraordinarily long time beyond that season either. He signed on till the end of 26-27. But Sid the Kid is in a more demanding spot, you can say, because he's better, he is more of a celebrity than Gino, and Crosby will likely have whatever it is that he wants happen, whether or not that is leaving or not. Now, this is not the only conversation I wanted to have about the Canadiens. I wanted to dive into the 9th name that is written about here on this article. It is from the New York Rangers, Mika Zibanejad. Okay, let's see what it is that Duquette goes out there and writes. He says, for the pros, Zibanejad's name is at the heart of trade rumors in the Big Apple after an average season and the arrival of JT Miller. Even though Zibby's best years are still behind him, he remains a dangerous player with the puck and an asset on the power play. Jeff Gordon also knows him very well, having acquired him while he was with the Rangers in 2016. The cons, though, is the drop in production during the 24-25 season and how that could be a sign of a slowdown. He's been the subject of much criticism for his bland game, and he's just turned 32. He also throws right-handed, which isn't an ideal profile for the Canadiens' needs. Throws. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, I get it. It's a translation error. He's a shooter with the right hand, like Nick Suzuki. In 2024-2025, Zibanejad had 60 points in 82 games played. Not a bad point production metric. Like, in isolation, that's not bad. But when you consider the fact that Zibanejad used to be a 40-goal guy, he was hovering in that 80-point range for a few years. He had 90 a few years ago. This is a guy who is on the decline, and he's making a decent amount of money at $8.5 million until the end of 2030. 32 years old as well. I do kind of think that the only reason to bring it up is because of the connection with Jeff Gordon, is it not? There is a very legitimate link with Gordon and Zibanejad, considering the fact that he had acquired Zibby in the past. Of course, the Rangers loved what they had gotten out of Zibanejad when he was a consistent 70-point guy. But if there's anybody who knows why you should go out there and acquire this player, it's probably Jeff Gordon, right? Whether or not that means that JT Miller has fully won over the first-line center spot permanently in New York, I guess it remains to be seen. But for now, Mika Zibanejad playing in the third-line spot. He's under Trocheck, he's under Miller, and he's making $8.5 million. I mean, would the Canadiens go out there and take somebody's $8-something million scraps and give him a top spot in their lineup? Oh, wait a minute, they literally did that last year with Patrik Laine. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Evgeni Malkin and/or Mika Zibanejad. Whether or not you guys think that this could be a good acquisition for the Montreal Canadiens, and if it's something that's actually worth thinking about. I want you to let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.